Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina's final hours looked like. The 71-year-old died over the weekend due to what medical experts say and they believe was cardiac arrest due to the hardening of his arteries.
Lindsey Graham was one of the most recognizable figures in American politics, serving for years as a U.S. senator and becoming well known for his influence on national security, foreign policy, and defense. His outspoken positions often sparked both support and criticism, making him a prominent presence in Washington. Following his reported passing on July 11, 2026, renewed attention turned to his private life as fresh allegations and speculation surfaced. In this video, we examine those claims, the surrounding discussions, and the questions they have raised. The untold controversy. After Lindsey Graham's death, on Saturday night, July 11, 2026, Senator Lindsey Graham died suddenly at his home at the age of 71.
Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina has died. On the evening of Saturday, July 11th, U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham passed away from a brief and sudden illness.
His office described the cause only as a brief and sudden illness, offering no additional details. Just one day earlier, Graham had been in Kiev meeting with officials, and he was scheduled to appear on Meet the Press the following morning. Then, within a matter of hours, one of the most recognizable and influential voices in American politics was gone. Tributes quickly poured in from President Trump, fellow senators from both sides of the political aisle, and leaders in Israel and Ukraine who had worked closely with him throughout his long political career. However, while many public figures were remembering Graham's legacy, actress Jessie James Rose sparked immediate controversy by sharing a very different perspective. In a social media post, she claimed that although most Americans knew Lindsey Graham as the Republican senator from South Carolina, who frequently spoke against LGBTQ+ rights, she remembered him for a completely different reason. According to Rose, Graham had once paid her a large amount of money when she was a pre-transition college student to spend time with him in a hotel room while he allegedly wore red lingerie. She continued by claiming that it was not unusual for some far-right politicians to secretly seek out members of the very communities they publicly criticized. Rose alleged that many transgender workers had experienced similar situations, saying they had received financial support from individuals who later voted against LGBTQ+ rights or publicly opposed the community. She added that while many people were quick to judge workers for these encounters, few understood the difficult financial circumstances that often forced them to make those decisions simply to survive. Rose also claimed that the money she received from Graham more than a decade ago changed the direction of her life. She said it allowed her to pay off her student loans, gain financial stability, and build the foundation that eventually helped her create the career she has today. According to her, she did not know Graham's identity at the time of the encounter. She said she only realized who he was years later, after other people allegedly leaked the identity of someone widely referred to online as Lady G. Rose acknowledged that some members of the LGBTQ+ community believed public figures should never be outed because of their sexuality. However, she argued that powerful politicians who publicly support policies against LGBTQ+ people while privately engaging with members of that same community should not expect privacy or sympathy. She concluded her statement by saying that if anyone had ever benefited from her online content or received financial help from her over the years, part of that support could be traced back to the money she claimed Graham had paid her years earlier. She ended with a strongly worded message, saying she would continue loving and supporting queer and transgender people far more than, in her opinion, Graham had ever hated them. With the controversy surrounding Lindsey Graham's death gaining attention, let's look closer at the events that unfolded and the questions surrounding his passing. Keep watching to find out. A closer look at the controversy. As Rose's comments spread across social media, commentators noted that rumors about Graham's private life had circulated throughout Washington for many years. They claimed they were not surprised that people were beginning to speak more openly following his death. Some suggested Rose was unlikely to be the only person with similar experiences, while others speculated that Graham's public political positions may have conflicted with aspects of his private life. At the same time, they argued that regardless of those rumors, many critics believed there were numerous other reasons why Graham remained a deeply divisive political figure throughout his career. The discussion then shifted toward broader criticism of politicians who publicly oppose LGBTQ+ rights while allegedly living very different private lives behind closed doors. The speakers argued that public officials who campaign against a community while secretly participating in it should not expect their reputations to be protected after their deaths. They also claimed that rumors about closeted Republican politicians, particularly within the MAGA movement, had existed for years, although they presented no evidence to support those allegations. From there, the conversation expanded beyond Lindsey Graham himself. The commentators argued that similar contradictions could also be found among some voters who publicly support conservative politicians while privately embracing diverse social circles and multicultural lifestyles. They encouraged people with large public platforms to continue speaking openly because they believed political tensions in the United States were becoming increasingly serious and more difficult to ignore. Attention soon shifted away from Graham's personal life and toward the growing conspiracy theories surrounding his sudden death. Shortly after news of his passing broke,
the White House, this is a live picture after the shocking news that South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham has died. We learned the news last night. It broke just before midnight.
Several online personalities questioned whether a foreign government such as Russia or Iran could have played a role. Others demanded a full investigation into the circumstances surrounding his death. The commentators dismissed those claims, arguing that if there were legitimate reasons to suspect foul play, federal authorities already had the resources and power to conduct a thorough investigation. The discussion also addressed social media posts, photographs of Graham appearing healthy only hours before he died. Some people suggested those images raised questions about the official explanation. In response, the commentators argued that appearances alone prove very little, pointing out that heart attacks and other sudden medical emergencies can occur without warning, even in people who appear completely healthy just moments earlier. The focus then turned to reports surrounding the 911 emergency call. According to the discussion, someone who was reportedly in Maryland contacted emergency services after Graham allegedly said he was not feeling well, but wanted to wait until after his scheduled appearance on Meet the Press before seeking medical attention. The commentators questioned who made the call, wondering whether it was a member of Graham's staff, a close associate, or someone else entirely. They openly acknowledged that they were speculating and said they were simply curious about the identity of the caller because very little official information had been released. The speakers also discussed reports claiming that first responders arrived at Graham's home expecting to find the front door unlocked, only to discover it had been bolted from the inside. According to those reports, emergency crews were forced to break down the door before they could enter the residence. The commentators considered several possible explanations, but ultimately admitted that the caller was most likely a staff member rather than anyone connected to the rumors being discussed. Could this controversy overshadow the legacy Lindsey Graham built over decades, or is there still more to this story waiting to be revealed? Stay tuned to find out. The debate over Lindsey Graham's legacy. Within LGBTQ+ online communities, the death of Senator Lindsey Graham was met with a wave of reactions ranging from dark humor and sarcasm to serious debate and controversy. The longtime South Carolina lawmaker, who unexpectedly passed away on Saturday, quickly became the focus of countless memes, discussions, and online posts. Some users joked that Graham was watching over a well-known cruising location in Provincetown from the afterlife, while others created exaggerated and satirical images of him attempting to gain the attention of former President Ronald Reagan in hell. Some even joked that he was being honored at Grindr headquarters, with a flag lowered to half-staff in his memory. But behind the jokes was a much deeper conversation about Graham's public image, political career, and the rumors that followed him for decades. While Graham consistently stated throughout his life that he was not gay, questions about his sexuality remained a topic of discussion in Washington for many years. The speculation was fueled not only by the fact that he had never been publicly linked to a woman romantically, but also by claims from people who said they had knowledge about his private life. Over the years, several men made public accusations claiming that Graham had paid them for sexual encounters, allegations that he strongly denied. Despite the attention surrounding these claims, they never developed into a major political scandal capable of ending his career. Graham continued to hold a powerful position in American politics and remained a strong opponent of many LGBTQ+ rights issues until his death. This contrast between Graham's public political positions and the rumors surrounding his private life became one of the biggest points of discussion following his passing. Many people began debating whether public figures who oppose LGBTQ+ rights should have their private exposed if they are believed to secretly be part of the same community they criticize. One side of the debate argued that every individual deserves the right to privacy, especially regarding personal relationships and sexuality. Supporters of this view believe that if all parties involved are consenting adults, someone's private life should remain private, regardless of their political beliefs or public position. They argued that exposing someone's can contribute to harmful stereotypes and reinforce the idea that being LGBTQ+ is something shameful. However, others disagreed and argued that politicians who privately participate in a community while using their public influence to limit that same community's rights should not receive the same protection of privacy. According to this argument, public officials who create policies that affect millions of people cannot completely separate their personal choices from their public actions, especially when those actions appear to contradict each other. Throughout the years, rumors about Graham's were used by people from different political backgrounds. Some conservative critics reportedly used the rumors as a way to attack him, while some progressive critics referenced them when questioning his political views and his opposition to LGBTQ+ issues. But could these controversies have played a role in Lindsey Graham's death?
We're back with a Fox News alert. According to preliminary findings from the D.C. Medical Examiner, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham died from aortic dissection due to heart disease.
Or was there another reason behind his sudden passing? Stay tuned to find out. The story behind Lindsey Graham's sudden death. Senator Lindsey Graham's unexpected death on July 11, 2026, sent shockwaves across the political world.
We're coming on the air with breaking news. Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina has died. His office released a statement just now that reads, "On the evening of Saturday, July 11th."
But almost immediately, the news was followed by a flood of false claims and conspiracy theories spreading rapidly across social media. Before officials had even released details about what happened, countless online users began suggesting, without evidence, that Graham's death was not the result of natural causes, but instead involved some form of criminal action. As speculation grew, several foreign countries were dragged into the rumors. Social media posts accused nations, including Russia, Iran, Ukraine, and Israel, of being responsible for the South Carolina Republican senator's death. Other theories focused on Graham's recent movements, with some users claiming that his travel schedule made it impossible for him to have returned to Washington before his death. Others pointed toward the FBI's involvement in assisting local authorities, incorrectly suggesting that federal involvement meant there was evidence of foul play. However, authorities made it clear that the true cause of death would only be confirmed after completing medical examinations, including toxicology testing and microscopic analysis. Those final findings later revealed that Graham had died from an aortic dissection, a serious medical condition caused by a tear in the inner wall of the aorta, the body's largest artery. The report stated that the tear was connected to the hardening of his arteries. Before those details were made public, Graham's office had only described his condition as a brief and sudden illness. Even after the medical explanation was released, conspiracy theories continued spreading online. with many people still attempting to connect Graham's death to foreign governments. One widely shared post on X claimed that Graham's recent visit to Ukraine was connected to his death. The post stated that Graham had inspected a drone factory in Ukraine shortly before Russia allegedly attacked the facility. It then questioned why his death was announced only hours later, suggesting that Russia may have been involved. However, no evidence was provided to support the accusation. Another theory pointed in a completely different direction, with some social media users claiming that Israel's intelligence agency, Mossad, was responsible. The claim suggested that Graham's death was part of a larger plan to pressure President Trump into restarting a full-scale conflict with Iran. Like the other theories circulating online, this accusation was not supported by any verified information. The reason these theories gained attention was partly because of Graham's powerful role in American foreign policy. For years, he had been one of Washington's most influential voices on international affairs and was considered a key advisor to President Trump on issues involving Russia, Iran, and global security. Just one day before his death, Graham announced during his trip to Ukraine that he had reached an agreement with the Trump administration to move forward with a new package of sanctions targeting Russia. Graham was also known as one of the strongest supporters of a tougher approach toward Iran. He had spent years advocating for direct action against Tehran and strongly supported many of Trump's policies involving the country. Given his powerful position and influence in the nation, will Lindsey Graham's death leave a lasting impact on the country, or will the nation eventually move past the headlines? Keep watching to find out. The nation remembers Lindsey Graham. U.S. President Donald Trump paid tribute on Monday to the late Senator Lindsey Graham, describing the South Carolina Republican as a fantastic man and remembering him as a close friend. Speaking with reporters at the White House, Trump reflected on his final conversation with Graham before the senator's unexpected death. He said he had spoken with Graham shortly after the senator returned from Ukraine and that, although Graham appeared to be tired from his trip, he did not seem seriously unwell. Trump said Graham was in good spirits during their conversation and that he never expected it would be their last. "I want to pay my respects to Senator Lindsey Graham, who was our friend. He was a friend of all of us," Trump said. "He was a great guy. He was a great politician, actually. And it's hard to believe he's gone." Trump explained that Graham had reached out after returning from Ukraine, simply wanting to check in and have a conversation. According to the president, their discussion was normal, and Graham only mentioned that he was feeling somewhat exhausted after his travels. "I spoke to him just before he passed away, just to say hello. He got back. He felt fine. He was a little tired, and then this whole thing happened," Trump said. "It's tough." Following Graham's death, Trump announced that flags across the United States would remain lowered to half-staff until Saturday evening as a mark of respect for the longtime senator. He said the extended tribute reflected Graham's years of public service, his influence in Washington, and the impact he had on American politics. Beyond the controversies and the circumstances surrounding his passing, let's take a deeper look into the life, journey, and political career of Lindsey Graham. The life and political career of Lindsey Graham, from South Carolina to the Senate. Lindsey Olin Graham was born on July 9, 1955, in central South Carolina. He grew up in a family that owned several local businesses, including a restaurant, bar, pool hall, and liquor store, run by his parents, Millie and Florence James F.J. Graham. His Scotch-Irish background and small-town upbringing played an important role in shaping his early life and political views. Graham began his political career in 1992 when he was elected to the South Carolina House of Representatives, representing Oconee County's 2nd District. During his time in the state legislature, he became known for his conservative positions and introduced several bills, including one that sought to restrict gay and lesbian service in the South Carolina Army National Guard, although the proposal failed. In 1994, Graham moved to the national stage when he ran for South Carolina's 3rd congressional district seat, after longtime Democratic Congressman Butler Derrick retired. With support from Republican Senator Strom Thurmond, Graham won the election and became the first Republican to represent the district since 1877. He went on to serve 4 terms in the U.S. House of Representatives, winning re-election in 1996, 1998, and 2000. Graham's biggest political achievement came in 2002, when he successfully ran for the United States Senate seat, previously held by longtime Senator Strom Thurmond. After winning the Republican primary without opposition, Graham defeated Democratic candidate Alex Sanders in the general election, becoming South Carolina's first new U.S. Senator since Fritz Hollings was elected in 1966. During his time in the Senate, Graham became one of Washington's most recognizable Republican voices, especially on foreign policy, national security, and defense issues. He was re-elected in 2008, 2014, and 2020, defeating multiple challengers and maintaining a strong political base in South Carolina. In 2014, Graham faced criticism from some conservatives because of his willingness to work with Democrats on certain issues. However, he built a strong campaign organization known as the Graham Machine, which helped him secure another term. In 2020, he defeated Democratic challenger Jamie Harrison in a closely watched race that attracted national attention. In 2026, Graham launched another Senate campaign and received an endorsement from former President Donald Trump. He won the Republican primary on June 9, 2026, with 56.8% of the vote. Could these controversies about Lindsey Graham be the end of his legacy? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for staying with us as we explored the hidden secrets within the life of Lindsey Graham after his passing. But could there be even more to this revelation? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video on your screen to explore more stories. See you there.